opportunities for us. Welcome everybody. This is Visionary Readers Club. I sincerely apologize for the delay. I also got hooked up and I was just on my own because I got a text from Madam President that she's not going to be part of the meeting just earlier. I welcome everybody. This is our meeting and our last meeting for Visionary Readers 2023. And the theme for today is Purposeful Living. It's Purposeful Living. That is our theme for today. I'm not going to waste time because we're already behind our time. But as we are starting the meeting, let's always remember one thing, that to live life victoriously, you always have to be mindful of what you involve yourself into or what you get yourself into. Nothing just is going to happen automatically. You must always engage it, initiate it for you to see results in any area that you desire to see results in. So without any waste of time, I'm not all by myself. I have someone to help me to help drive this meeting. So please sit back, put on your seatbelt, relax, because safety comes first. I just would like to hand over to you, our handsome Toastmaster of the evening, Sibongiseni Mgolozeli. Over to you, sir. Okay, a quick one just to make adjustment on the program. We are going to have the first one as a role. That is our general evaluator, and then she is going to introduce the rest of her team. And then I'm going to ask someone in this call to please evaluate Anna Costa, because we don't have Chimangazo. He also actually sent me a text that he is not going to be part of the meeting. So anyone who is willing to evaluate Anna Costa can please, interact with her, and then she can share her form. And then as soon as she delivers her speech, we can have someone to evaluate her. That is my humble request. So for now, that is all from me. And we are going to be working together, my brother. In case you don't understand anything or something from the program, please text me and then we can be working together. The meeting, or let me rather say, take back the reins, our Toastmaster of the evening, and help us run the meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. VPE/Acting President. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Sibongiseni Mgolozeli. Let me start there to introduce myself. I will be the Toastmaster of this evening, also known as the Program Director or MC of this event. Welcome to you all, our members of the club. I notice we also have a guest this evening, but we'll chat later on towards the end of the meeting to get to know our guests better. For now, for all of you who have the program, as you can see at this point of the meeting, we basically do the introductions. Each and every role player will be given a chance to explain briefly what does their respective roles entails. But I see in the list of participants, it seems like we are still missing our grammarian and accountant. That is going to be Mr. Simpiwe Choni. And also Sibongile is not here with us so far, but hopefully she will join us later on. But what I see is our general evaluator is here with us. Maybe for now, as we're waiting for the role players to join, let me call her on stage. That is our Madam Treasurer, Malihlelo Nolodziya, to come on stage and give us the criteria, or basically the description of her role as our general evaluator. Madam Treasurer, over to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the evening. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, visitors, and guests. My name is Malihlelo Nolodziya, and I am the General Evaluator for this evening. I'm very honored. This is our last meeting, and I would like to really make sure that I give a very thorough evaluation so that we can really close the year on a big on a big note. Having said that, my role is to really evaluate everything that happens in the club meeting this evening, from the start of the meeting right up until the end. I'm not alone. I do have a timer with me who is part of the team, and I would like to call him upon the stage for him to please explain the role that he will be playing tonight. Mr. Sandiso Mgolozeli, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Madam Malihlelo. And good evening, fellow Toastmasters. My name is Sandiso Mkolozele, and tonight I will be your timer. I will be timing all the parts of the meeting, starting with the prepared speeches. Prepared speeches will be given 5 to 7 minutes. In 5 minutes' time, I will change my background color into green. And in 6 minutes' time, I will change my background color into yellow. And in 7 minutes' time, I will change my background color into red. Moving into the evaluators. Evaluators will be given 2 to 3 minutes. In 2 minutes' time, I will change my background color into green. In 2 minutes and 30 seconds, I will change my background color into yellow. And in 3 minutes, I will change my background color into red. Moving down, I see in our program, we also have the club business session, which will take 10 to 30 minutes. That means in 10 minutes' time, I will change my background color into green, and in 20 minutes, my background color into yellow, and in 30 minutes, I will change my background color into red. And fellow Toastmasters, towards the end of the meeting, I will come up with a full report of the time. Thank you very much. Over to you, Program Director.
Oh, okay, just a quick one, our timer. For me,
Yes.
for the speech of Nkosinathi Madonsela is 10 to 12 minutes. So it's not 5 to 7 minutes. So as soon as I actually deliver my speech, you can time me between 10 to 12 minutes. That is just the other change I can make.
I didn't see it, but okay, thank you very much for your help. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Timer. So unfortunately, we do not have our grammarian and our counter. This is the grammar police that we usually have in our Toastmaster sessions to really make sure that we do not butcher the Queen's language. I don't know if we do have any volunteers, somebody that may have taken the role before or somebody that would like to take the role of being our grammarian and our counter. Madam Anna Costa, I see your hand is up. Are you volunteering?
I can if no one else is available.
Oh, lovely. We love that. We always wear multiple hats at Toastmasters. Maybe just to supplement that, I would just explain what is the purpose of the R counter. So this is unless if you would like to explain the role, Anna.
Okay, yes, I'm unprepared, but we don't have table topics, so here we go, impromptu. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and honored guest. I am the grammarian and R counter for this evening. As a grammarian, I'll be listening to everything that is being said and not said. I'll be listening to interesting quotes and beautiful lines that my ears might pick up. And I'll also be listening for crutch sounds and like ums and ers. So crutch words and sounds and things that make us stammer because we are thinking. So I'll be counting all of those meticulously. And at the end, when I'm called for, I will list all those ums and ahs and so's and you knows and repetitions, as well as quotations and anything else beautiful that I have picked up. Also, as grammarian, I'm supposed to introduce the word of the day. So I have not given much thought to this, but as a table topics impromptu, I think I would say intention. Keeping in mind our theme for purposeful living, I think intention is a good word that we can perhaps use, intermingle and sprinkle upon whatever we say and do. And I will announce those that say the word of the day, intention, during the course of the evening. Thanks, and over to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Anna, for being so flexible and wearing many hats. If you could please also post the word of the day for us in the chat so that our fellow Toastmasters and our guests or visitors will have access to it. Thank you very much. We will come back later on with our full report. I'll hand it back over to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you so much, Madam General Evaluator, with your team. I'm excited already to see that we're able to be on standby to fill up for those role players who are not present. Thank you so much, Anna. We truly appreciate that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I think as the Toastmaster of the evening, program director, I have every right to make changes as I see fit during the meeting. I see we will need to have a business session in the program. And I'm sure since we are still a new club, we are not quite sure what happens during the business session. I am mentioning this because when that happens in a business session, you need to have a quorum. By a quorum, we mean that you need to have at least 50% plus one of the members of the club before a business session can proceed. So seeing that in the call, we have about 9 attendees and 1 guest. So that means out of the total number of the club that we have close to 16 or 17, actually we don't have a quorum. So it means we won't have the right to proceed with the business session. So as the Toastmaster of the day, like I said earlier, I have the right to make the changes as I see fit. I propose that if there's someone who can be able to be our table topics master, can raise their hand and fill the role of the business session with table topics instead, since we're all comfortable with table topics. If not, I also don't mind to be the table topic master, but for now, I'll just give the members a thought to think about the topics that might come to mind that are related to the theme of the evening, which is purposeful living. And as you think about that, also think as you are crafting or drafting your questions for the table topics, think about how you can also incorporate the word of the day. So for now, at this point of the meeting, it's time for the prepared speeches. In my understanding, we have about 3 speakers according to the program, but one of them has basically apologized, so he won't be here. Actually, the evaluator. So I think we'll have all the speakers in the program. It's just that we'll need to see who's going to evaluate on behalf of Chimangazo, who's not with us this evening. So ladies and gentlemen, again, before we proceed, I would like to remind everyone in the call about our theme of the evening. Whether you're doing a prepared speech, whether you're doing an evaluation, or whether you're participating in the table topics, always keep at the back of your mind the theme of the evening, purposeful living. And for you to have a conversation with yourself at the back of your mind, ask yourself this question before we proceed. What does purposeful living mean to me? What does purposeful living mean to me? Then later on, you will be able to answer maybe even any question that might come as an impromptu speech during the table topics. But for now, since I said earlier, this is the time for prepared speeches, I would like to remind everyone the procedure that we take during the prepared speeches. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, since we have 3 speakers, the protocol says I will call the first evaluator who will be evaluating the first speech to give us the criteria of that speech. And then as soon as we are all clear about the criteria, then I call the first speaker to take the virtual stage. When they are done, I humbly ask you, since this is our last meeting, let's end with a bang. Whenever someone just delivered their prepared speech or their evaluation or their impromptu speeches, let's not wait for the program director or the table topics master to say, everyone, please, let's unmute. Let's just unmute as soon as we hear the word thanks to indicate that they are done. We give them a big round of applause. Let's have fun. Let's relax. It's Friday. We have a lot to celebrate, but we'll hear more from our VPE during the closing session. What could be maybe something that we could be looking for, or maybe some achievement that we have attained this year. So we'll celebrate some more at the end. But for now, let's all relax, have some fun, smile, and try to have the best time we possibly had for our last meeting. Let's enjoy ourselves. That's all I say. At Toastmasters, as we always say, if it's not fun, it's not Toastmasters. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I'll start with our first speaker. Please be ready. Our first speaker, according to the program, is supposed to be this program can be confusing sometimes. You will excuse me, you'll pardon me for having to miss the orders. But the first speaker is going to be our Mr. VPE Acting President, Mr. Nkosinathi Madonsela. He is going to be evaluated by Kwandisa Kuhle-Gwija. So at this point, please allow me to welcome Kwandisa Kuhle-Gwija on stage to give us the criteria of Nkosinathi Madonsela's speech. Kuhle, over to you, ma'am.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and good evening, visitors, if we have any. My name is Kwandisa Gwija. I will be evaluating Mr. Nkosinathi Madonsela. Mr. Nkosinathi Madonsela has completed level 5 of his pathway, namely dynamic leadership. From his speech today, we will be evaluating how he presents the speech and shares his experiences that he has learned from the pathway, including the progress made, the skills learned, developed, as well as the celebration of the achievement he has made. With this, I would like to also say he is one of the few fellow Toastmasters that I've seen who's been intentional about his development in as far as Toastmasters is concerned. With no further ado, I would like to say let us welcome Mr. Nkosinathi Madonsela. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I fully agree with you there, ma'am. This guy is a trendsetter right here. I'm sure you will all agree with me. He's our first member at Visionary Readers Book Club, Toastmasters Club, to actually finish the whole pathway. Today, it means he will be delivering his last speech on level 5. With that speech, he will be completing the whole path, and that is huge and worthy to celebrate. So as soon as he's done, ladies and gentlemen, let's all unmute and give him a roaring big round of applause for the job well done. But at this point, please allow me to welcome him formally to the virtual stage. His name is Nkosinathi Madonsela. He will be speaking to the title, Lesson from an Overcomer. Lesson from an Overcomer, Nkosinathi Madonsela. Over to you, sir.
Lessons from a victorious person. Lessons from someone who has paid the price diligently, intentionally, and with all that which is within them. Nothing just happens on its own. Nothing just happens automatically. As much as we may be people of faith, hoping for the best, and even believing that if God wants it to be, so it will be. Fellow Toastmasters, I have seen in this journey of light that nothing just happens on its own. Lessons from an overcomer are in a broad spectrum. They come in details, precept upon precept, because it's a journey that they have walked independently without anyone following or pushing them behind, except that they always have a target to reach and someone to whom they look up to. In my entire life, I have known, I have seen, and I have learned to be abased. Meaning, there were times I will be so frustrated, even myself. At points, even feel like crying. But as a leader, you don't just shed tears or reveal your tears anyhow. Although it's good to be vulnerable as a person, and it's part of your nature, above all, never ever ignore your humanity. Is the best part of you. Being human, it's natural to cry and to feel frustrated and to even want to give up. It's necessary for your journey towards your greatness. Those who have walked the journey already can concur with me, and those who have achieved a magnitude in life can confirm with all of us that starting was easy, but ending or the end game was the difficult part. And they needed encouragement at some point, But when they officially began the journey and they were already towards the finish line, they never ever needed motivation, but they needed to be intentional. And above all, they needed to be determined with the goal that they have set before them. Remember, starting is just starting. Anyone can start, but it takes a peculiar person. It takes someone who is intentional and determined to finish strongly, with all the scars and with all the blood dripping on or inside out. That will be the testament that they have endured. Personally, I have learned and I have seen that leading people or starting something takes courage. It takes a heart of a soldier. Because when soldiers dedicate themselves into war, they always surrender or they sign up a contract either of death or life, meaning they have actually agreed with their families to say, honey or son or daughter, if you see me, it's fine. If you don't see me, please know that daddy loved you or I had loved you all the rest of my life. It's because they know that they either come back alive or they come back as a dead coffin. Starting has become the greatest thing for all leaders in this world. Anyone who is great today and celebrated worldwide is because they were faithful and they were determined to start willingly without being pushed, even themselves. Those who are familiar with the Holy Book, perhaps the scriptures as well, it is said that where there is no prophetic vision, the people cast off restraint, meaning if they don't set a goal for themselves, they will reach a point of giving up because that which is motivating them to start is haphazardly or is not well constructed, that gives them a positive construction of the mind to focus on the end game. Life on its own, it takes people who will make precise decisions that will not be bending amidst all the storms, amidst all the challenges that we face in life, personally, corporately, and even with people we are living with almost our entire daily life. For you to be distinguished as a person, you've got to be determined and you've got to make the thorough decision for you to get towards where you want to. Lessons from an overcomer are well constructed, precise, precept upon precept. The sharing of what they have been through themselves. I want to take this time specially and share my own lessons as an overcomer. When I started my journey with Toastmasters, March the 1st, 2023, I was elected to become the VPE, Vice President of Education, without the given or the dedicated mentor, at least for that moment in time. There was need for me to sit down, think within myself as to why did I join Toastmasters in the first place. And then I came across a specific answer: upgrade. Because I needed to upgrade myself and to transit from the level of interaction or from my level of vocabulary to the next level. Because for any leader to become successful and in leading people precisely and accurately, you must dedicate your time. And there were times I felt like giving up. There were times I felt like crying. There were times I needed to say, you know what, let me just cancel this thing. I'm going to start afresh, maybe the following year, if time and chance will allow. Having paid my membership fee, that was money. And I can't just waste money and throw it to the drain. Not at all. I needed to invest or to make a very beautiful harvest from that which I have given or had planted as a seed within the corridors of Toastmasters International, which is known for me, the best platform to transform leaders and to make people or cause people transformation in a lifetime. During those periods, having to prepare and interact with people, personally, I'm not a person who will always engage with people, very introverted. I only speak when it's necessary. But having realized that taking this role as a VPE, Vice President of Education, I needed to learn the skills of communication, and there Toastmasters came in, and mentors and people who were there for me, like Dr. Sibongiseni Mgolozeli, dedicatedly reach out to him for some time, advise me here and there, and I gained my confidence, and until I was assigned a mentor by the name Sibongile Ntweni, a very dedicated mentor indeed, one you may want to have by your side all the time. Although she has a busy schedule, but she dedicates time to be there for those that have been given as a responsibility to her. As a person, up to so far, I have learned to rejoice. I have learned to be happy, and I have learned to smile, because I have done my best to even finish my pathway within, I think, if I'm not mistaken, within a period of 4 months. And today I can look back and say, this man talking to you today is not a foolish man, but well constructed. Not to mean to brag or to make myself fancy, the journey is still far, but starting is what determines the end goal of any leader or anyone who wants to become a success in a lifetime. I have seen, and you can think with me for a moment, and you can reason with me for a moment. Let's think of those that are already conglomerates and celebrated all over the world. For an example, Mark Zuckerberg, the man who is a founder of Facebook today, which has become a global network communication tool. That man started on his own in a single garage. No motivation, I think. No one to applaud him, no one to even believe in him, but he endured, and he was intentional with the end game. Anyone who wants to become successful in this life and to become a tremendous change, first for yourself and to the world, because there will never be change if you can't see the change first or reflect the change with yourself as the first point of view or as the reflection towards the whole world. I have learned personal skills, patience, skills to interact with people, to even console and conduct myself amidst disappointments, but that has paid me a lot. Today, I can look back and say I have upgraded, and I have dealt and met people who were there and were willing to be mentors over my life without even paying a price, because of the level of communication and the wisdom I have communicated after I have learned and thoroughly went through the curriculum that was provided to me by Toastmasters, and that is dynamic leadership. And today I have become that dynamite that will explode and shake the whole world, even in times and days ahead. Fellow Toastmasters, my time is up, and I thank you for yours.
Woo.
Woo! Well done.
Well
Nicely
done,
done.
Martin.
Well done.
Well done, Nati. Thank you, my brother, for that inspiring journey. You are indeed now, like you said, a dynamite. A dynamic leader. That pathway, as soon as you finish it, you get to call yourself with that course. It's more like after getting a citizenship in South Africa, you call yourself a South African. Now that you've completed the dynamic leadership, you are a dynamic leader. Think about that. And for us, the rest of Toastmasters who haven't finished their path, also, you will have a chance to brag as soon as you finish. If you did effective coaching, you can call yourself an effective coach. This could be in public speaking or a communication coach, or even life coach, whatever you choose to be a coach of. So once again, well done, my brother, for that inspiring journey. Thank you for sharing with us. But now, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving forward with our second speaker, and that is going to be Zintle Groepe. But before we call Zintle Groepe on stage, her evaluator is Nompumelelo Manzini. At this point, please allow me to welcome Nompumelelo Manzini on stage to give us the criteria of Zintle Groepe's speech. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, just a minute. Zintle had actually requested that we put on our torch lights. I don't know if that is still okay with her. And I think we'll have to put on our videos and light our torch lights. Zintle will actually confirm, but that is the request she had made personally. Thank you.
Okay.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I have the privilege of evaluating Zintle Groepe tonight, and she is on the Presentation Mastery Path, Level 1, Project 3. I apologize for not having my video on. I have load shedding and I'm having a challenge navigating on the phone. The purpose of the project is for the member to practice vocal variety and body language to enhance a speech. The member must be aware of intentional and unintentional movement to enhance a speech. The speech may be humorous, informational, or any style that the member chooses. Over to you, Mr. Toastmaster. Thank you. Welcome, Zintle, on stage.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Nompumelelo. Ladies and gentlemen, I think let me first, before I introduce Zintle, can you confirm if you want us to show ourselves on video, switch off our lights, and use our phones as torches? Is that the instruction?
Good evening, Mr. Toastmaster of the evening. No, not necessary. I did ask though, but I backed down on that request. Thank you very much, Mr. VP.
Okay.
Okay.
But one thing I know for sure that I can feel from the bottom of my heart, this is going to be a fun and hilarious speech regardless. Anyway, fellow Toastmasters, at this time, please let's not waste any more time. Let's welcome Zintle Groepe on stage. She will be speaking to the title, Bring Tissues, I Will Take You in a Ride. Bring tissues, I will take you in a ride. Zintle Groepe.
We are ready and excited to hear from you.
Good evening, Mr. Star of the evening, and a very good evening to you, my fellow Toastmasters. The title of my speech is actually Z3. The rest of it was a call to my members of my fellow Toastmasters. Bring their tissues because it's about to get a little bumpy. Fellow Toastmasters, Z3. Does anyone know what that is?
BMW.
Right, I was hoping you would say that. As you would have rightfully guessed, Z3 refers to one of BMW's most luxurious cars of our times. It wasn't until South Africa's most popular youth series of the 1990s, Yizo Yizo though, that we got to learn that Z3 actually refers to HIV and AIDS. Why the Z3, you might ask? Well, the Z3 was known and loved for its fast speed. Similarly to the Z3, HIV and AIDS was known to take one's life as fast as the Z3 was. Although it is reported that the first case of HIV was recorded in 1982 in South Africa, it was the likes of Nkosi Johnson who put a face and a voice to the virus. May his soul rest in peace. At a young age, Gossie Johnson fought battles that would soon pave the way for many children living with HIV and AIDS. Refused entry by a primary school in 1997. Gossie Johnson's life story brought into light the intensity of the stigma and discrimination still faced by people living with HIV and AIDS till this day, years after his death. Gossie Johnson, although he faced many health challenges, dedicated his entire life to becoming a beacon of hope by creating awareness and fighting for the rights of children living with HIV. A life lived with purpose, a clear demonstration that when we decide to win the fight in our mind and in our to win the fight between our mind and our bodies, it is possible to use adversity as a powerful tool. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do remember, my very first speech on this platform was titled Purpose Located Me. I painted a picture of how I swam through the mud. I do hope that tonight, with this speech, part of my purpose will be served. In that note, please allow me to take you through Zanele's life journey. Zanele, a devoted Christian who believed in no sex before marriage, suddenly fell ill, and she didn't understand why. Zanele decided to visit her nearest health facility to run a full body test. As you might know, of course, before administering an HIV test, the nurse is required to take a patient through pre-counseling. Zanele was sitting there, not paying attention, because according to her, she didn't need the pre-counseling. Well, it wasn't until the test strip started showing 2 lines that Zanele suddenly woke up, paid attention, her heart pounding in disbelief. The nurse asked, Miss Kumalo, do you know what this means? A question she barely heard. She drifted away and saw her life passing by, just like the Z3. The nurse continued, Miss Kumalo, your blood results also show that you have TB. Her whole life came to a standstill. She didn't understand. None of it made sense. How could this be? How did this happen? You can understand the kind of monologue that was taking place in her mind as she tried to answer all these questions. Zanele sank into her seat, tried to find her posture, but she couldn't. She stood up, walked out of the room, and walked home. On the way home, all she could think about was, what was she going to say to the church? What about her mother? Oh, what about her friends? God, her future partner. None of this made sense because all her life, Zanele had been taking care of herself. On arrival at home, Zanele shared her experience with a family relative. A family relative who was able to remind Zanele of an earlier time in her life when Zanele was unknowingly exposed to the virus while helping a family relative. As difficult as that time was for Zanele, today Zanele spends her life helping others find courage to live life positively through self-mastery. Ladies and gentlemen, the story I just told you is based on a true story. My story. 11 years ago, I was diagnosed HIV positive. In that moment, I had a choice to live or to die. Only by fixing my mindset, I decided life. I chose life. I chose to be the light to others around me using my life story. In her book, the light we carry, Michelle Obama says. I believe that each of us carries a bit of inner brightness, something entirely unique and individual, a flame that's worth protecting. When we are able to recognize our own light, we become empowered to use it. When we learn to foster what's unique in the people around us, we become better able to build compassionate communities and make a meaningful life. This day, I encourage you to dig deep, be intentional, find the light within you, even in your darkest moments. Introspect, find your biggest why. Do it today because tomorrow is not given to anyone. Embrace challenges, be kind to others, and let absolutely nothing dim your light. I thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster of the evening, and my fellow Toastmasters.
Wow. Thank you.
Well done.
Sure.
Thank you,
Done.
Zinhle. Nicely done.
Great. I'm sure all of us in this call right now are inspired to look within and be the beacon of hope to everyone who's around us, our families, our friends, and all the people who are around us in our respective communities. Thank you, Zinhle, for that inspiring speech. Thank you so much for your bravery as well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on as the time is ticking to our third and final speaker. That is going to be Anna Costa. But before we allow her to take the virtual stage, we have our VPE who volunteered, Nkosinathi Madonsela, to evaluate Anna Costa. So, Mr. VPE, please join us on the virtual stage and give us the evaluation criteria of Madam VPPR. Over to you, sir. Nati? Oh, if you are shy, I can do the evaluation on your behalf. Please confirm. Perhaps his network challenges, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give him some time. Perhaps in the meantime, I can just give the evaluation criteria and then she will be evaluating in the background. Right, so the purpose of Anna's speech is as follows. The purpose of this project is for the member to deliver a speech with awareness of intentional and unintentional body language, as well as to learn, practice, and refine how she uses nonverbal communication when she's delivering a speech. She has 5 to 7 minutes, and now as a Toastmaster, I will now take this opportunity to introduce her to the virtual stage as follows. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Anna Costa. She will be speaking to the title, Purposeful Living, Embracing Change. Purposeful Living and Embracing Change, Anna Costa.
Sorry, my voice after Zinhle's speech. I think I've gone speechless. Excuse me. So thanks so much, Mr. Toastmaster of the evening, fellow Toastmasters and honored guest. I'm Anna Costa and I'm delighted to deliver my speech this evening. Well, what I'm about to show you might be jeopardized by technology and the lighting, but what I have here are some stones that I've taken from my pond, and they are quite glistening and beautiful. They're from the Tukela River in Kranskorp, and I picked them up on a visit to the river 6 years ago. At the time, I was drawn to them by the energy which they emanated lying there in the shallow waters. It was a peaceful and tranquil setting, and I felt compelled to take a piece of it home with me. It is said, a rolling stone gathers no moss, and thus it is so. These stones lay nestled in the riverbed, ensconced in their niche created by God. They witnessed sunrises, sunsets, and the 4 seasons. They experienced visiting critters, creatures, birds, and even human hands and feet. They basked in the sun, they dried in the breeze during low tide, and they were the stones they were meant to be until I came along, bringing with me a significant element to their existence, and that was change. Let's briefly debunk the proverb of a rolling stone and the moss. For example, what if the rolling movement says that it's a change and that moss are burdens or problems? All of a sudden, the proverb is tilted on its axis. Change is described as making or becoming different, or using or getting something else in its place. Similes are transform, mutate, swap, and replace. All are verbs, none of them are static or complacent. This implies that change is a transitional state, stagnant, and triggers a domino effect once activated. However, there is a human element when it comes to change, and that is termed resistance to change. When faced with change, most of us become introverted and we choose ignorance or overthinking. We completely overthink matters like the stones in the riverbed. We like our comfort zones and we prefer to keep the status quo, even if it means gathering moldy moss. Do you know that besides regulating body functions, our minds protect us from perceived dangers? They do so by magnifying risk, even though it's just perceived and not real. It's important to recognize that we always almost have the answers to our circumstances and our problems. However, our minds drive us into a trap where we start overthinking and second-guessing our choices that will lead us to a better change. As we have witnessed in the previous 3-4 years, external factors bombard us and they're beyond our control. They cause havoc and threaten us in our comfort zones. Interestingly enough, once we face these challenges, we actually face them head on and we are able to resist the resistance to change. And we are able to stand square on and deal with these changes and adapt. But wouldn't it be better if we are prepared and intentional and have a purpose to reduce the stress and face head on without being with the added stress of these external factors? Mel Robbins says there are 3 truths that we have to face before we can even think of facing a transition. 1, you have to be frustrated enough where you are to say enough is enough. Secondly, you must be brave enough to admit, to declare and demand more of yourself and others around you. And thirdly, you have to be disciplined enough to do the work. Here's a little exercise. Quickly refer back on the past 11 months and think where you have faced challenges and where you have stood up to these 3 truths. I, for one, experienced a health awakening when my husband fell ill, not once, but twice this year, with quite life-challenging issues. All of a sudden, I faced my own potential issues, looking back on family history and the potential that they could come to me if they don't skip a generation. I saw the frustration in our home and in our economical situation. I also took accountability for my own practices and my own routines. And thirdly, I devised an action plan to actually do little incremental changes in my life that will lead me towards a better healthy lifestyle and to prevent or retard these health hazards from occurring to me. In conclusion, purposeful living is a mindset that enables us to steer our lives in a direction that we want to go and with full intention. It gives us the necessary tools to change and adapt according to situations and to make informed decisions to improve our physical and our mental well-being. Well, once we have established our intentions and we have put our action into place, most times we look back and we want to go back there. We like this new comfort zone. Take the Tukela stones. They now reside by my pond. They are close to the ocean, therefore their fauna and their flora is completely different. They are hung over by a beautiful fern, therefore they are saved from harsh elements, although they do get a few splashes of water from the actual pond waterfall. But change has brought them a longer lifespan because they are less susceptible to erosion. But furthermore, and this is the wild card, the residents, myself and my husband, we are able to sit by the pond and ponder about life, looking and emanating from the energy from these stones and accepting it. And while we make decisions and embrace changes, we can actually connect with nature and with these stones that have come to us. I don't know what the future brings to them, who will change them and their situation one day. However, for the time being, I'm embracing the change and I'm enjoying what nature has brought to me. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Well done.
Well done, Anna. Lovely.
Well done, Hannah.
Looking forward to evaluate that one. Let me not comment for now because as the evaluator, I'll give my full report during the evaluation sessions, which is, ladies and gentlemen, starting right now. That was the end of our prepared speeches. So maybe we just need to take a breather. I would like to challenge you all, wherever you are, whether your video is on or off, just pause, close your eyes, take a deep breath, inhale, hold it for 5 seconds, and then breathe out. Because we are preparing ourselves for the evaluation session. In 5 seconds, let's try that. Breathe in, hold, and out. Could have been much better if we were in person, but no problem. I see you all. You follow the instructions. Thank you so much. Big round of applause to you all for following instructions. Thank you, thank you, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, we are here to have fun. Let's experiment with new things. But now, without further ado, let's go to the evaluation sessions. We will start with our first evaluator. I hope she's now ready after that breather. Her name is Kuhle Gwija. Kuhle, can you confirm if you are ready, ma'am, to take us to the evaluation session of our first speaker?
I am ready. I am ready. I don't know why did Nkosinathi choose me to evaluate him.
You are muted, ma'am. Sorry.
Am I muted?
Now we are fine. It's okay.
Okay. I am grateful that you chose me to evaluate you. I've made quite a number of notes as I was listening to your speech. As a precursor, I would like to say you've motivated me to move from this hole that I'm sitting on and finish my own pathway. The title, you titled your speech, You Are Lessons from a Victorious Overcomer. Firstly, I would start by saying, I feel from where I sit, you've managed to meet the objectives of the pathway that you chose, which is, which dynamic leadership. And I would like to say, I can fully see a dynamic leader right in front of my eyes. From the onset, you took us through the journey from you joining, how you didn't have a mentor. I loved how you explained how you reasoned and decided and asked yourself, why did I join? I've paid the membership. Now I need guidance. You used the resources available at the point in time to to achieve the stumbling block that was in front of you, in that you decided to contact Dr. Sibongiseni. That is what a leader does. A leader doesn't sit and hold back and wait for someone to come and hold my hand. You assess everything that's available decision. In terms of clarity of speech, you were lucid. Discipline. You showed me discipline. I always say discipline for me hinges on two things. Everyone can start, but you need discipline to be able to move on to complete something. You've done that. You were determined. You had the staying power. Well done, Boot. In terms of context, well structured. It was an easy story to listen to. You took the experiences you learned, you moved us from March right up until to where we are today. Your confidence level is on par. You indicated, you showed us how you learned new communication styles, because you said in your speech that you are an introvert like myself, but you are an introvert who's done way more in that I've seen you inviting us to go and present in other clubs. That is not someone who's an introvert. So you took us through the trajectory you followed for you to reach this level. You've learned new communication styles. You confronted. You showed us that what you don't confront, you will never conquer. I would like to say, well done, Boot. That's my evaluation for you. What I would have loved, or what I can say, you must challenge yourself on, or maybe what I would have loved to hear more on. When I was reading this pathway, there is something that speaks to conflict management in a group, the skills you learned, and how would you diffuse and direct a group. I would have loved how you have taken what you've learned from this pathway and implemented it in your work, and probably told us a story in terms of how did you deal with conflict, how did you diffuse it, how did you direct it. But from where I sit, 5 out of 5. Clarity, audience, awareness, you kept me engaged, content, flow. Well done, Boot. Thank you.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, you can hear.
Beautiful feedback.
Yes, thank you. Let's move swiftly along to our second evaluator, and that was Nompumelelo Manzini, who evaluated our second speaker, Zinhle. Over to you, Nompumelelo.
Okay. Evaluating Zinhle. Zinhle's speech was very interesting, and you were vulnerable with us. You started off with the Z3, and we all thought you were talking about a car, and then it moved deeper. I like the way you engaged the audience. Your speech was very engaging. Looking at all the people, the screens, looking at everyone as they were listening, you could see that they were waiting for every word that you were saying. Actually, they were hanging on every word. You were very clear, and the task for this project was to use body language intentionally, and you used your body language very well. There was no movement maybe that would have distracted us from what you were saying. Unfortunately, I can't read from my notes. As I said, I'm in the dark, but I can say your speech was well executed, and it was good, just as well as all the other speeches that you've given us. That's all from me. Thanks.
No problem.
Nice.
Thank you so much, Nompumelelo. That was short and sweet. And I think now it's my turn. Toastmasters, they say you must always be prepared to wear many hats. Now I take off my hat as a Toastmaster of the day, and I put on a new one as the evaluator. Ana Costa, this is for you. I'll remind everyone first and foremost that the purpose of your speech was basically to learn how to use your body language intentionally and unintentionally. Usually when when I evaluate a speech, I always ask myself 3 questions. Number 1, what did I hear? Number 2, what did I see? Number 3, what did I feel? But because today your speech was about body language, it's about what did I see. So I will focus only on the aspect of body language, which is about vision. So this is all about 3 things, body language. And I summarize that as a GPS. The G for gestures, how you use your gestures, that's part of your body language. P is your posture, how you stood. That helps in terms of how you project your voice. It's very important, chest out, shoulder straight, and then chin up. So that way there will be airflow and then you'll be heard clearly. Then lastly, the S part is about stage domination. So I'll start with the S, stage domination. I think first and foremost, let me start by recommending you in terms of your following, paying attention to what was expected of you in this project. I will mention a few things where you excelled in terms of using your hand gestures brilliantly. When you spoke about that quote by Mel Robbins, we spoke about 3 things, and then you went on to enumerate. You did exactly that. When you spoke about the first thing, according to that quote, you used your finger. First thing, number 1, and then you move to the second thing, according to the quote, you said number 2, and then eventually to the number 3. Another thing you did brilliantly was basically when you said, we were talking about what does purposeful living means to you, you said purposeful living is a mindset. Your hands were basically in your mind to show us that you were intentional in basically pointing us to the mind as purposeful living is a mindset. And then also, I think the last thing that I want to oversize in terms of that point, when you mentioned the word overthinking, you basically use your hands like this, overthinking. It means it comes from your mind, the thinking process. So that was brilliantly done. Last but not least, in terms of what I can recommend in order to also tick boxes for your postures, I recommend that in your next speech about body language, you stand up. When you stand up, ensure that your audience can see at least your upper body, understand this is the virtual stage, move back a bit, and make sure you speak loud enough despite the distance between yourself and your camera of your laptop. That way, we have the full view of how you use your body language, your gestures. You basically dominate the stage by allowing your hands to move freely, and then in that way you have the full you have the freedom to use your hands however you want to. I think my time is up. I'll stop there, but I have a lot to say. All in all, to summarize, well done. You actually passed the test you were given, or the task you were given. Well done, and I'm looking forward to hear more of your speeches. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Big round of applause once again for her. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now I am done as an evaluator, off the evaluator's hat, and then back my hat as a Toastmaster. We have one more evaluator, ladies and gentlemen, and that, okay, I think I was the third one. I was mistaken. So that was the last evaluator. At this point, we are moving to another segment of Toastmasters called Table Topics. I've mentioned in the beginning that we won't have a business session because we don't have a quorum. We will have enough time next year, maybe in our first meeting, to explain what are the nitty-gritties of a business session so that we will understand, since we haven't had a business session as a new club. So we still have a long way to go in terms of learning everything about Toastmasters. And we'll also introduce, let me say this in advance, we'll have debates next year. We'll have educational like we did in our previous meeting with an educational on pathways. We'll make sure maybe in our first meeting, we'll do an educational on debates, and also in other important roles at Toastmasters, such as toasts, which is also the core at Toastmasters. We basically have 3 toasts: the toast to Toastmasters, the toast of own choice, and the loyal toast. So those are the things we'll need to introduce next year, and then we'll have educational before we implement those things. So I'm looking forward to next year. We've done brilliantly well for our first year as the new Toastmasters Club. So I'm very proud of this club, and I'm looking forward to what is to come next year. Now, like I said, it's time for table topics. I don't know how we're doing with time. Maybe since it's past and we have 30 more minutes, I know it will take, usually our meetings take 2 hours. We started late already. I think we're doing very well in terms of time. We still have, maybe I'll do table topics for 3 members. At this point, I think we'll make it maybe within 10 minutes, since I'll pick 3 members or 3 volunteers. And then each member is going to be given 1 to 2 minutes to deliver their table topics, all themed with the theme of the day called Purposeful Living. Maybe I'll pause here to see if everyone is okay with us doing that table topics. You can just use emoji to show thumbs ups, and then I will basically start with the table topics. If I get 3 thumbs up, I will continue. There's the first one. Okay, let me see the list of participants. Okay, 2 already who are keen.
Mr. Toastmaster of the evening, it was a proposal to maybe have a short social, if possible, seeing that this is our last meeting for the year. So I don't know how the team feels about that.
Actually, I think that would be more engaging compared to unprepared speeches, because people tend to be shy. And yeah, I think now I see more thumbs ups. I think that's a better idea. So yeah, let's have a social. Do you perhaps, Madam Treasurer, have an idea of how to run the social? You will just lead us on and just maybe ask questions that come at the back of your mind. You will be running this session if that's okay with you.
That wasn't the plan, but I am more than happy since we wear a number of hats. So I will take on the challenge. So first and foremost, I would like if we could all please switch on our cameras to those that can.
Even the guests.
Jessica, are you able to? Jessica, will you be able to switch on your camera? It would be lovely to see you.
Maybe as a guest, she's still shy. It's okay. We can.
So I know we haven't really had enough time as a club to really just get to know each other on a personal level. So last week I had the privilege of actually meeting our Toastmaster of the evening in person. So I was in Pretoria and I knew that he was around that area. So I took on the opportunity to really meet him. And there were a couple of mishaps. We met each other about 45 minutes later than planned, purely because of, not knowing the location too well. But I think it was really great. And I think for me, what it meant is that we really need to really get to know each other on that personal level. So I don't have any plans for this round. So anyone who maybe wants to know something about someone, I think a lot was shared today. If we have any questions or if we want to, have more engagements, perhaps maybe a good starting point would be where in the country are you sitting, so that we know next time who to ring up whenever we are in town. I know we have a WhatsApp group. We could also use that whenever somebody is, in a new town to say, who is available? I am around in Johannesburg or wherever. But I think, yeah, that's it for me. Mr. Toastmaster of the evening, you had your hand up.
All right, thanks, ma'am. I think to keep with time, Mr. Timekeeper, if you can just start the time to 10 minutes for this social segment, it will be great, so that we can also have, the general report from the Madam Grammarian and other role players, the general evaluator as well. So I think to make it easier, let's all just, reflect. Let's say take 1 minute each, just like Madam Treasurer suggested. Just mention where you are located, Cape Town province, and the town where you are. And then maybe just to reflect what has been maybe your highlight for the year since joining the club, this new club. I'll put my brother first on the spotlight, Mr. Timekeeper. please unmute. Follow those 3 things that I've suggested. The spotlight is on you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Simo. As you all know, I'm Sandis Mkolozeli. I'm based in Western Cape, under a town called the Piketberg. Only Anna Costa knows exactly where do I stay. I mean the town, not exactly my residence area. So ever since I joined Toastmasters, I'm a very shy guy, but not shy in front of my employees. When it comes to you guys, since we don't know each other, I am very shy, but Dr. Siwo knows me very well. I speak a lot and I speak non-stop because I have a speech impediment. I am struggling to speak, but that is why I also asked him, how can I cure this speech impediment? He told me that I should take a breath. Then, but I tried since then until today. I'm not getting anything right. So I won't waste any time. I am based in Western Cape in Piketberg. If maybe you come around Piketberg or West Coast, you can just contact Mr. SAA. I will provide you with everything.
Will do. Thank
Challenge
you.
accepted. But remember, Mr. SAA, patience, things take time. You'll eventually get there. Set your own goals, but just do your best and then leave the rest to God. The miracles will happen. I'm glad you joined. So anyways, let us not delay further. Let's move to our next participant, seeing that our Madam Treasurer is on stage. Over to you, ma'am.
Hello, everybody. So I'm Male, and I am based in the Eastern Cape in East London, very close to the airport. So if you happen to fly in, please text me, and I will definitely make time, if possible, to come and see you. And if I look back on the year, I'm really, really grateful for Toastmasters and for you guys keeping me on my toes. And always, learning from you guys. I learn a whole lot from listening to all of you and really observing how you deliver your speeches, how some of you have grown. And it's really been an honor. And it's always, our engagements are always so enlightening for me. And I'm really, really grateful for Toastmasters and for having joined. I can also see, a big difference. I would honestly be scrolling my life away, lying down on the bed. But here I am on a Friday, tuned in and so engaged and really learning. And I have really, really seen myself and how I've now started to really pour into my personal development in other aspects as well. And it was purely from gaining the discipline from Toastmasters. So I'm really, really grateful for the platform. Thank you very much.
We are all grateful, ma'am, and we are grateful to have you in our club. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now it's the turn for Madam VPPR, Anna Costa.
Good evening. Thank you. Well, I don't know where to start. I'm actually a little bit emotional, to be honest. I'm from the West Coast, Cape Town, then the West Coast. That's why I know Piketberg and I know Jakobsbaai, Saldanha Bay. I grew up in Saldanha. So I know the windswept, beautiful coast, actually. And so when I heard that Sandizo from Piketberg, I was actually very, very excited and quite astounded that I had a fellow friend from the West Coast. I'm now on the East Coast. I'm in Durban, KwaZulu-Natal, in Morningside. I'm not near the airport, but maybe a 25-minute drive. So whenever any one of you pop over, I'll be very happy to meet up with you. My journey to Toastmasters. Well, let's just say I didn't know anything really about Toastmasters except to think it was a bunch of businessmen in suits that debated or stood up to do speeches. I thought it would have nothing to do with me ever, especially since even just to get up to the stage to accept an award at school was petrifying enough. It was just beyond anything. So I met Dr. Sibongi Zeni at the International Book Fair in Durban last year? Yes, last year. And I joined the book club. And of course, a natural progression would be the Toastmasters, which I knew nothing about. I just said, yes, let me fill in. Where do I fill in this and pay? And I'm done. I thought I'd be a participant. I didn't know that. I thought I'd be like an audience member participating and listening. I didn't know I had to actually choose a pathway in any of that. And I was petrified, of course. It was quite an eye-opener to meet all these sleek speakers online and listen to everyone how beautifully presenting their speeches and their roles. It was very intimidating, to be very, very honest. And of course, being nominated as VPPR was horrifying. I thought, oh my heavens, what have I got myself into? And as Nati also said, there's a few times when I thought maybe I should hand in my resignation before I begin, because I know nothing about Toastmasters or PR. But I have learned there's many facets to Toastmasters besides just speaking. And I have to say, in the last 3 months that I've got more involved with attending other clubs and roles, doing a lot of roles. That's why Stephanie is a grammarian, because last week I did a grammarian and archivist somewhere else. So it was still fresh in my mind. It's made me feel like I'm part of a family, to be very honest. And at times when I don't feel like attending and I can think of other things that I could do on a Friday night, I think, no, this is a family that I cannot let down. And there's a few of you that I feel like I know very, very well, even though we haven't met. And yeah, as I said, it's quite an emotional thing when I think about it. So I'm very happy, and I'm very glad to be part of this family. So thank you. And sorry, I've overtalked.
Indeed, family. Thank you, Anna. Right, let's move swiftly along. Zintle, over to you, ma'am.
Good evening. Zintle Frupe. I live in Johannesburg, well, Germiston, but I am from the Eastern Cape, King Williamstown. I left King Williamstown when I was 12 years old. I'm pretty much a Gautenga now, more than I am an Eastern Cape. I joined Toastmasters. Can't remember the specific this year though. When I did my life coaching, Toastmasters came up as one of the recommendations because I want to go into public speaking and motivational speaking. My coach suggested that I join Toastmasters. For the longest of times, I put it off because I'm terrified. Speaking is not my thing. I do well on one-on-ones, but the group setting, not for me. I'm the psychologist who analyzes everybody in the room, and then after all that, I'll have an opinion about everybody. And. So speaking in such a platform is very terrifying for me. Funny enough, growing up, I wasn't always like this. You know, when you grow up and you start picking up little habits and whatnot along the way, I became more shyer and shyer and shyer and shyer. The more I observed people, the more quiet I became. This has been a very interesting journey for me, very empowering. Today's speech for me was, my goodness, I actually did this without reading my entire speech word for, and I really feel like this has empowered me. Toastmasters has empowered me. Not only do I have more courage to speak in my workplace, I tell you now, we have awards coming and your girl is nominated for something.
Well done, well done.
Well done.
I'm pretty new in this space. I joined the company in February. To be nominated for an award is pretty amazing. I really do credit that to my ability to vocalize and speak up and contribute to the conversations and really add value to the team. Not just the value work-wise, but like I said in my speech, everywhere I go, I use every platform I have to make sure that I spread light and I've exactly been doing exactly that here. Impact, power, purpose, all the way. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well done.
Impact, power, purpose, all the way. Thank you so much, Zintle. I think we have now 2 more minutes. Let's allow Nompumelelo on stage, and then last we'll have. Okay, so I see Kuhle Kuja on stage. Maybe Kuhle, you can start. I think Nompumelelo just left us.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. I've wanted to join Toastmasters, but I didn't know where. I didn't know where clubs are in Cape Town up until I joined Fundi's. There's a book club called Fundi Book Club by Missing Andek. That's where I met Dr. Sibongiseni. He advertised his book there. I decided to buy the book, and he then informed me about the Visionary Readers Book Club, and eventually I progressed into Visionary Readers Toastmasters. Sorry, I'm based in Cape Town. I work in Cape Town, and I stay around the Western Cape, in Parklands to be exact. I've picked up, I'm one who analyzes themselves and analyzes their weaknesses. I've picked up that when I don't read, I tend to lose the language. I tend to lose the confidence to speak. I've been therefore intentional in pushing myself to read, because I'm not shy. I'm not lazy to read a book, but if I don't, or I put it away, watch TV becomes the important thing, then the language goes away. I've gained confidence. I've been getting a lot of comments from work, compliments. Was quite impressed in the past week with myself. We had a meeting with the head of the institution. Guess what? I'm not one to ask questions after his speech. I was the first one, and I was amazed. Where does that come from? And then I remembered that knowledge acquired tends to reveal itself, because I do not know how my hand got up, but my hand was up. And I listened to the recording afterwards, word for word, grammar, everything was on point. And I'm grateful to Toastmasters for that. My plan for next year is to push myself to write the speeches in order for me to be able to deliver and then move up the pathway and finish it. I thank you.
Let me use the laugh emoji.
Nice, very nice and inspiring.
Indeed, very inspiring. Now let's move to Nompumelelo. Let's hope your network will not disappoint since you're in the...
Yes, okay, yeah. I'm still in the dark. I was able to unmute, yes, and unfortunately, my camera is still off. I'm in Pretoria East. I joined Toastmasters earlier in the year, and I've seen the growth. I think what I liked most about Toastmasters is how you can apply what you're learning at work. So one of the things for me was communication styles. I know that I'm introverted, and with this last project that I had was learning how to communicate to people with different communication styles. So I know I have some colleagues, when they come in the morning, they greet everyone, they shake everyone's hand, they want to hug. I'm not that kind of a person, but I've learned how to connect with people, connect maybe with laughing, connect with a joke, those kind of things. So it has helped me in my professional life. And also, yeah, it's great to be part of this family. Thanks.
Thank you. Yes, we are a great family indeed. We are all happy or all grateful to be part of this family indeed. Thanks, everyone. Let me also summarize in 30 minutes. I think all of you might know, since you have my book already. Originally, I am from the Eastern Cape.
No, we don't know you. We don't know you.
I can't believe it's my brother who said that. Okay, right. Originally I'm from the Eastern Cape. even though I was born in the Western Cape in Stellenbosch, but I grew up in the Eastern Cape in Queenstown, to be exact. And now I'm currently based in Pretoria. So yeah, that's where I'm based. I don't know, I've learned so much through this club. I think for me, the highlight was that every time when I listen to the testimonies and also seeing with my own eyes during the meetings, the progress from someone delivering their icebreaker and then progressing to the next speech, and then it's fulfilling, to be honest. And that's why I think I'm very proud of this club. And then also, like I said, the testimonies now, it's just, an emphasis to what I've been observing. So that was just my highlight for me, seeing the members grow in their own respective and beautiful ways. So thank you, team. We're doing this together. And next year, we are learning some more. It's going to be our second year. And I think we need to celebrate every step of the way. And yeah, I think that's it on my side. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause to you all.
Thank you, Mr. IPP.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, I think, yeah, that brings us to the end of this segment. I was going to ask a different question to our guest. Her name is Jessica Nhlapo. She's now a member. She joined, I think, this month, the Visionary Book Club. Eventually, I think she will join the Toastmasters Club as well. This is her first meeting. And yeah, let's be hopeful. I'll chat with her on the side. Maybe she got busy with something else. But I think at this point, let's proceed to the last part of the meeting. We still have 10 minutes. We will ask our general evaluator, Madam Treasurer, to come on stage. She will ask first the accountant grammarian to do the timekeeping and the timekeep. Okay, we know the grill. Over to you, Madam Treasurer, general evaluator.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It's been such an eventful evening. I would now like to call upon our first evaluator, or one of the evaluators from the team, which is our grammarian and our counter, Anna Costa. Over to you with the grammarian and our counter report.
Thanks very much, General Evaluator of the meeting. Right, as our counter, script and log, my job was very easy this evening, to be honest. Everyone, and I didn't judge myself, so I think I would have had the biggest ums and ahs probably. Right, Kuchle had 1 and 2 ers, and repeats was just you. I think you did it twice. Then we have a Toastmaster of the evening, just 1 repeat, where he said time twice when he introduced Sinclair. And Nkosinati used as a few times at 1 section. But other than that, I don't have any logs, anything in my log. Then as grammarian script, the word of the day has been used quite extensively. Toastmaster of the evening once, Kuchle once, Nkosinati 3 times, Zintle Grupe once, and Mpumelelo Manzini once. I'm sorry if I've missed anyone else out. It's possible. Then we have a list of quotes, thoughts, words, or saying that was little gems. Nkosinati, I've got quite a list. He said, as a leader, never ignore your humanity towards your greatness. And he's also used words like concur, heart of a soldier, dynamite, explode. Those were very powerful words, and it kept me riveted to my seat listening to his speech. There's just one phrase that he used that I think was just improper, in the sense that he said, come home as a dead coffin, which I thought was so cute because he actually meant dead in a coffin. But that was it. Zintle, what did she say that was brilliant? Beacon of hope, life with purpose. Find your light within you, embrace challenges, and don't let anything dim your light. I think that was beautiful. And then Kuchle, she said, a leader doesn't sit back. I thought that was lovely. And that is my report on the grammarian side. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much. It was nicely and thoroughly done, and considering that it was very impromptu, we really thank you for that. So now we will move on to the general evaluator before I hand over to my timer, because I would like to also be timed and follow protocol. Coming to what worked well with our meeting this evening. I think the meeting agenda was sent well in time, so that was really, really great. So kudos to our Mr. VPE. The timer was right on time and ready to roll. So as soon as he had to introduce himself, I think he was ready with his cards and he was ready to put on the show for us. And I think the spotlighting was quite on point. I think it was just one instance where I really had to ask for the spotlighting, but that was very swiftly taken up. So thank you very much for the flexibility. Taking on additional roles, I think this is something that we do very well in this club, which is very, very commendable. So thank you to Anna Costa, Nkosinathi Madonsela, and our Toastmaster of the day or of the evening, who always puts on and off his hats accordingly. We thank you for that. Mr. Toastmaster of the evening, coming to you and your role, I think you really emphasized the theme of the evening and you explained it very well. So thank you very much for that. You led applauses and you really encouraged the team to really applaud each other, because we do find value in that and it's very encouraging. So thank you for that. And I think you had very great control over the meeting. You were rounding off the sections, and once we were moving into a new section, we could tell that we have now officially wrapped up the last section and we're moving on to the next one. So that was excellently executed. Videos were on for majority of our speakers, which is really, really excellent, and it helps with the engagement. So thank you for that. To our speakers, Nati, he's not here, but a very big, warm and well done to him for completing his level 5. We are truly honored to be amongst the gamers and the pushers, you know, and the go-getters. So really well done to him on completing that. To our second speaker, Zintle, thank you so much for trusting us with your story. I love how your stories always have this personal touch, and we can link up the stories that you have or the speeches that you have shared with us in the club. So I find that to be a very great strength of yours, and I think you should really, really keep it up. Our third speaker of the evening, Anna Costa, well done. We know we are always in for entertainment. Today you brought in your props. We could really see your rocks and we could see, you know, the setting. You painted it beautifully for us. So thank you so much for that. We were truly entertained. It was a very lighthearted meeting and a lighthearted speech. So thank you very much for that. The evaluators really explained the project very well with much conviction, so they understood what they were evaluating. I know we also had a last-minute evaluation, but that was also beautifully done, and I think it comes with the experience. So thank you so much for that. And moving on to what could be improved, our meeting unfortunately did not start on time, and we know here at Toastmasters, we value the time of our fellow Toastmasters, our guests, and our visitors. So it's really, really, I would really encourage the team to ensure that we at least start the meeting. I know it's an unwritten rule to start at 15 minutes before the time, but if we see that we are not able to make it, let's please try also with the 30 minutes before, maybe if possible, just to make sure that everybody joins. We have our sound check, we have our video check, just to make sure once it hits 6 p.m., we are ready to rock and roll. There was, because of the time, there was no Toastmaster video played with all, you know, the rules and regulations and also our mission and vision. But I think that was purely because we wanted to save time. But it's always great to introduce the meeting and to really welcome the guests so that they know that they're welcome at our meeting and what our rules and what governs us and what motivates us. And that's pretty much it. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you for also the flexibility that we also built in the social. We squeezed in the social right at the end. And I think it was a nice way to wrap up the meeting, and maybe it's something to consider in future, that if we have such a significant milestone, that maybe we do find those key sessions or segments in order for us just to maybe reflect and, you know, engage with each other. Other than that, I would now hand over to our timer of the evening, Mr. Mgolozeli. Over to you.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Wow. I would like to say thank you very much to our speakers and everyone that participated in this meeting. But to our speakers, wow, I would like to see them presenting their speeches to each and every meeting, especially Nati, Zinhle, and Anna. You guys did an extremely speeches. Okay, without wasting any time, prepared speeches. Nati took 11 minutes and 47 seconds. Well done to Nati. And Mrs. Z3, let me call you Z3, Mrs. Zinhle, took 7 minutes and 32 seconds. Just above with 32 seconds with the allocated time. And Anna Costa took 7 minutes and 13 seconds, just 13 seconds above. Well done. Moving down to the evaluators. Kuhle Kwija was evaluating Nati Madonsela. She took 3 minutes and 6 seconds. Second evaluator was Nompumelelo Manzini evaluating Zinhle. She took 1 minute and 15 seconds. And the third evaluator was Bongiseni Mkolozeli. She was evaluating Anna Costa. She took 3 minutes and 18 seconds. Moving to the second segment, it was social. It was social, whatever topics. Social. Social. We were given 10 minutes, but we took 15 minutes. So we above with 5 minutes. But it was our first time. I forgive you guys for that. And our counter took 2 minutes and 25 seconds. Lastly, our general evaluator took 4 minutes and 25 seconds. Thank you very much, and back to you, Program Director.
Thank you. Back over to you, sir.
Okay, back to me. Oh my goodness. I think we lost Jessica again. I was about to allow her to introduce herself again because I saw in the chat she says she's from Queenstown in Midport in the Eastern Cape. My goodness. But anyways, we are here. We are here. Just before you gave over the control to me, Mr. Timekeeper, she left the meeting. But it's okay. Anyways, Tim, I don't know where to begin because our SAA, or not our SAA, our VPE he was acting as president in this meeting, but I'll take over in that role as well, just to say our last goodbyes before we leave this meeting. We are left with 2 minutes. Can you believe it? But I had so much fun, time flew. I can't believe we're almost done with the meeting. But anyways, just to be grateful for the journey that we have traveled so far ever since we chartered the club, your consistency, team, the marvelous work you've been doing in your respective role, and also ordinary members. Let me also say, I think we also need, I reach out to a few members, I think, okay, I see Jessica is here before we proceed, or maybe we close before I mention that. I would like to allow Jessica maybe to introduce herself. I saw she wrote something on the chat. Jessica, if you don't mind, you can show yourself on video. Just introduce yourself and then where you're from and how did you get to hear about us. Over to you, ma'am. I think that will be all for you. Jessica, can you hear us? Okay, maybe she's still connecting. Anyways, team, I was just saying with all of your hard work, it didn't go unnoticed. We are here at this point today. It's all because of your dedication and hard work. We worked as a team, we understood the vision of the club, we understood the mission of the club, which is aligned with our book club, which Jessica is also part of. So just to reiterate as before we close, again, despite the bigger picture or the bigger vision of Toastmasters, which is according to those values of respect, integrity, service and excellence. For us, our mission is basically to promote the culture of reading within the African continent and beyond, and with the vision, of course, to see each and every home with a bookshelf in the African continent and beyond. Our values are different from those of Toastmasters, but because we're a Toastmasters club, we adhere to those of Toastmasters as well. We're all about Arise, that is basically the acronym ART, Arise, Read, and Transform. If you think in your own self, if you want to change the world, start with yourself, change yourself, then you'll be able to change the world. It all starts by waking up, arise, wake up, read. As you read, you'll be transformed. And then as you're transformed, you'll be inspired to transform those who are around you. So that's basically our values, our mission, and our vision. With all of that being said, we want to tie all of those principles to those of Toastmasters. So basically, we're here to practice our public speaking skills, our communication skills, and leadership skills. So each and every meeting, hence those prepared speeches, those impromptu speeches, evaluations, it's our way of learning by doing. And we're in the right track. We have so much to celebrate, but due to time, we cannot keep on bragging and bragging and bragging. We need to go and rest since it's Friday. But I don't want to stop. I will feel sad immediately as soon as I leave this meeting. But thank you so much, team. I think, oh, Jessica left again. Okay, I think Jessica is still here. Jessica, do you have maybe a minute to share something about yourself, where you're from, and what did you maybe enjoy about this meeting, since this was your first meeting in our club? Can you unmute? I saw you trying to show yourself on video. If you're shy, it's okay. You can type on the chat and then we'll allow our SAA to close the meeting. Right? I think she's also have similarities with us. In our testimonies, we all common theme was we're shy, we're introverted, we're reserved. Maybe she's at that stage now. I'll speak to her on the side, and maybe in our first meeting next year, she will join us and be able to speak. But yeah, at least she's a member of the book club now. So yes, team, I've taken already the without your knowledge, I've taken the screenshots. So we're good to go. We're good to go. So I'll share this recording as well in the book club. And then, yeah, I think we'll get to enjoy it. And I don't know if anyone wants to say before we say goodbyes, but otherwise on my side, that's it. I'll hand over to Mr. SAA to close the meeting.
All good. Thanks, everyone.
I think it's gone.
Thanks,
I actually can just leave. Good night and enjoy the rest of your week.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.